Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Can we get a non-paranormal nope thread? Real-life, creepy, crazy shit that isn't paranormal. We'll deliver in a bit. On my mobile, and it's hard to do a full Greentext on here. Woods, murders, Christians, thug encounters are welcome.
This happened to me, but the victim is someone else. Be me, 13 years old. So I live in this country in South America where some people have tons of money, and the rest simply don't. It's shitty. Anyway, my family owned this lake house back in the day, and we'd go stay there every other weekend when my dad didn't have to work. It was all fun and games. The house wasn't left alone when we weren't there. My dad had contracted a local man and his wife to come clean up, take care of our plants, just regular maintenance. My dad's all about making worlds collide. He always taught us to be respectful and compassionate with those who had less possessions than us. He always said that it was our duty to help them, and that we should learn from them. My dad was very poor when he was younger, so it figures. Anyway, this one summer we planned to stay for a whole month. The man my dad had employed, we'll call him Rick, was very nice to us and a good worker. He had a daughter called, let's call her Mary. That's not even close to her name. Never mind. She was really quiet, always unnerved me with her quiet stares. But once she broke off her shell, she was really fun to hang around with. The friends I had over never really cared for her, and I didn't either, so she almost never had the chance to actually speak. After my friends were gone, I agreed to go to her house to hang out the next day. Her house wasn't a long way from ours, and my dad had taken us there in the past to share dinner with Rick's family, do some religious talking, stuff that good Christians do. Now, I had never been exposed to domestic violence before in my life, so I guess what's up next won't be much of a shocker to many of you guys. The thing is, it sure was to me. It was getting dark, but I guess I had promised to come, so I did it anyway. Mary went on about how we should just slip to her room to avoid getting in her dad's way. I actually thought this was pretty odd, because she wasn't one to speak so seriously about anything. And Rick had been nothing but nice to us. We entered her house, and the contrast hit me hard. I had been there a couple times already, always announced beforehand, but this time it was different. It was really hot inside. Their house had this old oven that used wood, and I guess they relied on that for heating. There was a smell nothing sort of unpleasant coming from the kitchen, and the TV was on really loud. Mary's dad was sitting next to their little TV. I can't remember if he had been drinking, but I can only assume he was. He looked at us and seemingly ignored us because I remember we went straight for her room. I just knew that I wanted to go home as soon as I had set foot in that place. It just didn't feel right. Mary told me about her father and how he looked up to my dad and strived to be like him, but as soon as we turned our backs, it was back to complaining to his wife. As if the whole scene was unsettling enough. I remember that we stopped when we heard a loud argument coming from the kitchen. Mary told me to go and insisted on it, but I'm not sure what I said. I just know I stayed. She didn't look afraid, or at least that's how I pictured it. More sorry than anything. We heard Rick storm off the kitchen. His loud footsteps were coming in our direction. He opened the door and told Mary to pack up a change of clothes. I don't think he even acknowledged me, and now that I remember, he was definitely drunk. He had to be. Mary's mom came rushing over, telling her husband to stop making a scene. I remember her looking at me and telling me I should just head back home, that everything was okay. I was terrified. They were arguing about something. I think it was related to a car. I know it's arbitrary, but that's all I remember about the actual argument, since Mary's dad yelled so much. He had grabbed Mary by the arm and dragged her off to the living room, spewing some nonsense, or rather, stuff that I can't make sense out of right now. I rushed to the door. I was crying. I stood in the doorway for about 3 minutes, watching the scene unfold. It seemed to happen really fast, but I do remember a couple things that Mary's mom said, stuff that burned in my mind, a couple of scars. I knew what the concept of abuse was, but I had never really given it a thought. It was something completely absent from my mind and my life. It was almost completely new. But I sure knew that those words inspired a distinctive anger in me. Somehow I understood the gravity of the situation to some extent, and it only got worse from there. In response, Mary's dad began beating his wife. Well, hitting may not be the correct term. It began with pushing, but he knocked her to the ground. I remember that much clearly, at least. I was ready to hit the road at this point. Last I saw of Rick was him dragging a screaming Mary down the corridor to where the bedrooms were. I kept running, made my way home. My mom immediately caught wind of the whole situation. She sat me down and told me she'd call the police while asking about what had happened. What little got through my crying must have been enough. My dad got home from wherever he was, and my mom took me upstairs to my bed. I could hear the noise from the second floor. Someone was talking, but I soon fell asleep. How? I've no idea. I shouldn't have been able to sleep after that. I woke up the next day and my dad sat me down. He told me that he'd get me all the help I needed. All the help I needed. I remember fighting tears asking about Mary, but no one would tell me anything. They all looked so serious, like someone had just died. No one died, that's for sure. It would have made the news. The thing is, I never saw Rick again. I was told that the police had taken care of everything, but I needed to know what had happened to Mary and her mother. I felt immense amounts of guilt. Maybe I could have done something, but I just ran away. I saw Mary again a bit later. The police brought her to our house along with her mother. Everybody was crying and I was happy that they were okay. I remember we all sat on our big couch in the living room, just resting our heads on each other's shoulders. I never saw Rick again, but my dad later on told me he did, and that Rick had been taken by the police. Mary and her mother moved to the city with us, and she's kind of like a sister to me now. Her mom is sort of like a nanny to us now, I guess. She takes care of my baby brother. Who knew? Mary used to be the quiet one, but now it's me who sits in that chair. I guess this story has a happy ending. Dang it. I'm sorry my life isn't as tragic as some of you guys. If it helps any, I know this experience screwed me up big time. I had to go through countless hours of therapy to get through it. Sometimes I even think it messed me up worse than it did Mary. I mean, I used to have friends and be able to trust people. Or maybe Mary's just stronger than I am. God, it makes me feel so terribly guilty to know that deep down, I'm so jealous of her. Well, that was my traumatizing story for you guys. It's not much, but it certainly screwed me up for what remained of my teenage years. And it still haunts me into my 20th birthday.
You saw a guy get drunk and push his wife down. I had to put a little girl back together after being hit by an 18-wheeler. Her and her mom died on me. My wife left, and my fiancé Spawn killed our child and took off. I thought I was a wuss for drinking so much, but goddamn grow a pair.
Are we now telling each other how miserable we are? What is this, the sob story Olympics? Holy shit, I cannot stand people who think they are the only ones who have pain because it hits them subjectively worse.
Go spelunking. The cave is really nice, on a mountain, with some water flowing inside it, with a lake inside. The cave is also known in local folklore to have been inhabited by 3 sister witches. The witches used to be nice, but then one of them got killed or something and the other 2 got angry and now they hate people. So I'm in this cave, with a guide telling this story. We kept spelunking for a while. After some time we hear the most horrible and inhuman scream. It started low and increased in volume until it was painful for our ears. We ran out of the cave and away from the mountain, talking with locals to understand what just happened. In the cave there's a siphon with water inside. Sometimes air passes in the siphon pushing water away, creating the horrible sound. It usually happens before a flood, and we were lucky to have run away instead of drowning in the cave.
I was home one night with my siblings and mom. My brother was 3, I was 5, and my sister was 7. My dad was out with the orchestra. We were brushing our teeth. There was a sudden loud crash and the alarm system started blaring. My mom appeared in a panic. She ushered us downstairs and hid us under the dining room table. The heavy front door was banging in the wind. The alarm was still going. There was terror in my mom's eyes. She said to my sister, "I'm going to close the door. If you hear anything, I need you to take Anon and your brother and run to the neighbors. No matter what you see, keep running. Tell them to call the police." I noticed she was holding a knife, trying to hide it from us. She leaves. It was the scariest minute of my life. The door closed. The alarm shut off. I heard her on the phone. There was a knock at the door. The police had arrived to respond to the alarm being triggered. Years later, my mother explained the reason for her taking the situation so gravely. At the time, she was working in forensic psychiatry. She eventually quit because she found it so disturbing. But at that time, she had a paranoid schizophrenic patient with a history of violent offenses. In his delusion, he had fallen in love with my mother and had come to believe she reciprocated the feelings. A few days before the alarm incident, he'd left flowers on our doorstep, meaning he knew where we lived. No wonder she freaked out. When you're a child, you believe adults, especially those who keep you safe, are in absolute control. It was terrifying to see that there are situations in which a grown-up is just as vulnerable as a child, and sometimes even parents might not be able to save you.
Be around 13. I like to just walk around in the forest and the town, just because. I am walking in the dark. It is not too late, just winter. I walk down a smaller street. Out of nowhere, I am grabbed by an arm from behind. A woman, 40, maybe 50, with glasses and reddish chaotic hair, with a strange stare, holds my arm tightly. Something is held to my face. Keys? A knife? I am just sure it is metallic. I am frozen in place. The woman speaks in a raspy voice and a very strange tone, making strange, slow-motion movements. "What are you looking at, pimple face?" "I just hit puberty and had my first ones. I shall cut out your eyeballs." "Yes, send them in the mail for your parents. That is good, is not it?" She is rambling, still holding on to my arm. I am shaking. Panic.jpg. I cannot move away and cannot look away from her crazy stare. I cannot remember what happened then. I am just running from one moment to the other, hearing her hissing and yelling somewhere behind. I did not stop running until I got home after 15 minutes of running as fast as I could. I am calming while walking up to our flat. I just go into my room, sit down, and do not tell anyone. I still have no idea what was going on. This has occurred like 10 years ago. It still gives me chills. I still like walking, as well at night. Though now I have my dogs with me, I can fight and do jogging. So no strange crazies can just hold me and tell me what they do with my body parts. I am also sure that she told me more, what she will do with my intestines and stuff, but it's blurry between the eyes via mail thing and the running.
Low crime areas seem to be especially prone to people from the city coming out here to commit crime. I live in the boonies, town population of 900, and the only things we have here are farms, some houses, a 7-Eleven, and more farms. A state road comes through my town, and unfortunately is a straight shot to Baltimore, Maryland. We used to have a PNC Bank branch here in town, but it got held up at least 3 times in less than 2 years by armed goons from Baltimore, so they shut it down. The tellers got to the point where they were afraid to come to work anymore. Now I have to drive 20 minutes away to deposit my paycheck. To contribute, 2002. My neighbors just moved into a new house. The guy was freshly married after a messy divorce. His ex-wife was a psycho. She physically assaulted him and pepper sprayed him one day. He did not like to talk about her much. He got a restraining order against her before getting a divorce. First weekend with his new wife in the new house. 2 a.m. He hears the garage door opening and a vehicle leaving. The garage is attached to the house. He and his wife are both in bed. He grabs some protection and investigates the garage. A window is smashed, the door is ajar, and his truck is missing. He calls the police. The next day, his vehicle is found wrecked in a ditch halfway between here and West Virginia. His ex-wife got a random guy to break in and steal it as revenge. I don't know what legally happened to her, super-uber restraining order, but he's never had any encounters with her since. It still terrifies me that a complete stranger broke into their house to get revenge. What if she had accidentally given him my house number and he decided to butcher my whole family? Here's another from the POV of a friend. Working at an event center situated alone on 300 acres. It is a beautiful place. I work there doing maintenance and stuff. Sometimes I will work as event staff doing late shifts. The owners live in a small house nearby, and the son of the owners lives on an adjacent property. 3 a.m. My friend is locking up after all the employees have left. She locks up and leaves out of a side door. Her cell phone finally gets one bar. A text comes through. It is from the owner's son. Anon, there is this dude pounding on our door yelling nonsense. Stay inside the building. He is clearly on something. The police are on their way. Her heart drops. She literally just locked herself out. She looks up to the main entrance of the building. There is a man standing there under the light. She is not sure what to do. She has to go that way to get to her car. She decides to just hide behind a tree for what feels like an hour in the pitch darkness. The police show up. They haul the guy away. The guy got charged with trespassing and public intoxication and whatnot. He was not violent, but still, my friend was terrified. You never know what people are capable of when they are not there. We get intoxicated people like that all the time roaming the property during wedding season. One night this summer, the owners caught a drunk woman in the building around midnight stealing liquor from the walk-in. A guy was also spotted in one of the parking lots trying to break into cars one evening during a wedding. The chef chased him off. Fortunately, in case anyone tries to get violent, her boyfriend has a CCW permit, and he picks her up from work ever since that first incident.
A similar thing happened to me a few years back, living in a quiet neighborhood outside a small town in Northern California. Only me and Mom are home. I'm sitting around, doing something on my laptop. Around 11 p.m., there is pounding on the front door. Mom goes down to investigate. A shirtless, long-haired guy is at the door. He is screaming, crying, and obviously on something. Mom starts freaking out and calls the police. The guy is stumbling around outside of my house. He is looking in windows and banging on them. He is screaming about some girl. I forgot the name. He thinks my mom is that girl. He goes around to the back of the house and gets on the deck. The guy sees my mom and starts banging on the glass doors. Mom is screaming and crying. The guy is screaming and crying. The guy leaps off the deck, a 20-foot drop to the lower deck. Thud, screaming and crying intensifies. "You don't love me anymore!" The guy lays there and screams and cries for a while. He miraculously gets up. He starts stumbling around in my backyard. A cop finally shows up and brings him to the front yard. He cuffs him and sits him down by his car. The cop is doing cop stuff and not paying attention to the guy. The guy gets up and starts running toward me and Mom standing in the doorway. The cop tackles him and sits on him, a heavy-set cop. He continues doing his cop stuff while sitting on him. He finishes the cop stuff and puts the guy in his car. After that, we talked to the cop, and he said the guy was at a wedding party down the road where his girlfriend broke up with him, so apparently he got extremely drunk and started looking for her. The guy went to a few other houses before ours and did the same thing.
B12. At a buffet restaurant with my family. A weird guy that looks like Bono is at the table next to us. He's accompanied by an older Chinese woman, smiling a creepy smile at me often. The Chinese woman approaches me while I'm out getting food. She says they're from a modeling agency. Says her partner is very interested in me being a foot model for them. She asked me to go to their car so she can take down some information. I'm all giddy and excited because I felt validated for being pretty. I tell my grandparents they want me to be a model and I'll be right back. My grandma turns red as a beet and says, "Where in the hell do you think you're going?" With no shame, she drags me to the man and lady and asks what he wants with me. Asks for a card or something. They act like they never asked me to model. My grandma's mad and leaves back to the table. I'm walking around the buffet more. The lady reminds me again that this is my last chance, and I shouldn't care what my family thinks because I have potential. I'm scared and say no. They leave promptly. The Bono guy is eyeing me the whole way out. My grandma swears their intention was to kidnap me. In retrospect, they kinda gave off that stereotype of those weird couples where an older lady helps her Minecraft YouTuber husband get young girls.
Be me deep in a woods doing some late-season hunting. Been walking to my usual spot, but I haven't seen a single animal, even birds. As I'm following a trail along a river, I heard leaves crunching behind me, so I stop and look. Nothing there. There's wind, but it's very light. Couldn't possibly have made that noise. I stay frozen and slowly examine the woods around me, but see nothing. Continue on the trail, still following the river when I hear a bloop noise, like a rock thrown into the river, but very soft, like it was far away. There's no ducks on this side of the river, or even fish because it's too shallow for them. Figure it was a buckeye nut fallen and carry on. Once I get to my spot, I climb up my stand and immediately hear more crunching leaves. But as I look around, there's absolutely nothing. I shrug it off and sit there for a couple of hours, not seeing anything. But the whole time I felt very uneasy, like something was watching me the whole time. It started to snow a little bit, and the temperature was dropping, and I hadn't seen anything in over 2 hours, so I climbed down and started walking back. About halfway back, I heard splashing in the river, but it was kind of far away. I kept going until the trail I was on split, and one side sloped down to the riverbank. Right on the riverbank, I saw a bunch of marks in a patch of mud that looked like someone or something fell into the river and tried to claw its or their way out. Like I said, the river was only about a foot deep at this point. Definitely nothing would have drowned. However, whatever made the markings did it recently, because they were fresh and very deep. As I was trying to figure out what made the markings, I heard a few twigs snap and more crunching leaves, and I bolted back up the slope to see who or what it was. It couldn't be a person because there's only one area to park at these woods, 'cause public hunting land, and I was the only person out there that day. I also hadn't seen any animals all day, and those markings were definitely weird, but there also weren't any tracks in the mud. There were no bears or boars in this particular area, but coyotes were common alongside deer. Whatever was crashing through the woods was too big to be a coyote, though. I start to get nervous, thinking some asshole is out there and going crazy, or somehow a bear or boar was nearby and I wasn't dealing with that shit with a crossbow. I start walking faster toward the exit and my truck, but somehow I got disoriented despite knowing these woods well and ended up in a private cornfield. I had to muscle my way through a thicket of small trees and overgrown bushes, only to come out in another field with tall grass. But I recognized the field and followed it around. I came to another thicket and stopped to see if I couldn't figure out where I was. I heard a loud snap behind me that sounded almost like a gunshot, and without even looking back, took off running through the thicket. After what seemed like at least 15 minutes, even though it was more like 2 minutes, I came out on the other side of some thick brush and was right at the parking area. I tossed my gear in my truck and sped the hell out, never going back to those woods.
Be me, B8, male, hanging out in a bowling alley during a parent-child league night. My teammate's new boyfriend and I are watching football. He's probably 40 or 50. A commercial comes on. IBM says, "You make the right call." If anyone remembers these ads, they were big in the 80s. Some uncommon rule of American football would be shown, and people would try to guess the right officiating call. Anyway, I made the right call. I impress the cool adult. He kisses my hand and tells me he loves me. I'm wishing I made the wrong call. A series of come-ons and creepy comments occur. I don't remember these details. I just remember it escalated. I escaped to the bathroom. I didn't escape to the lanes where my parents were bowling. He is at the adjacent urinals. He keeps making comments. I finish and get out of the restroom. He escapes the facility as I'm telling my mom and dad. His girlfriend is mortified. I wonder how close I was to being kidnapped. I mean, no adult stepped in and did anything when I was having my hand kissed and being flirted with by a grown-ass man in a crowded bowling alley. Would they have stopped him if he snatched me up? I kind of doubt it. I hope he never hurt anyone, but this seems unlikely. Whether he is dead yet or not, I would totally be okay with it being a horrible death. He only scared me, but despite my naivety, I could tell I was in real danger.
Kinda nope things. They were scary at the time, and I'm still scared walking around at night because of them. Living in a town of around 30,000, walking home intoxicated from the pubs one night. I have my iPod with me, listening to music. I am running and singing really loudly, feeling great. Someone shouted something at me, but I couldn't hear them. Dumbass that I am. I take my headphones out of my ears and look around. 2 guys and a girl approach me. Scummy looking, most likely meth heads. Without warning, one of the guys punches me in the face. The other guy punches me in the stomach. The girl says, "Deck him! Deck him!" I get a few decent swings in. Then they run off. I am left wondering what the fuck just happened. Another time, at the beach with friends having a fire at night. I walk along the beach a bit. There are other people. My friend talks to them. I thought he knew them, but apparently he did not. We walked back to my car. For some reason, 2 of the people from the beach follow us. I am in my car with the window open, trying to reverse out of the awkward beach car park. A guy comes up to the window. He slurs some shit about us scaring people. Out of nowhere, he punches me in the face, knocking my glasses off. I am dazed and confused. He punches me a few more times and screams at us to give him our pills. I am 100% drug-free. I eventually come to my senses and haul ass out of there. My town has a big meth problem, as do a lot of rural Australian towns. I can't walk around at night anymore without being paranoid. Even during the day, I assume that someone walking towards me in a lesser populated area is going to hit me.
So my friends and I went off base to chill at a hookah lounge last Friday. We were there for literally about 10 to 15 minutes, because it was jam-packed in there, nowhere to sit. We got bored as hell and decided to go back to base since it was still early and the clubs were going to be dead at the time. 2100, 9 p.m. Got back to base knocked out. Nothing interesting happened until the following Monday, being 18, in the Navy. Monday night, tired because of physical training and studying all night. I hear someone knocking on my door in the barracks. What the fuck? I open the door. A guy starts telling me I owe him money from Friday from the hookah lounge. I am confused as shit. The guy honestly looks sketchy. He started explaining to me how he was drunk and I left an unpaid tab of $60. Even though I knew this shit wasn't true, he was totally convinced as if I did this. I asked for his name. He said not to worry about it, because he didn't want to get into that. Thinking this is really sketchy, he leaves the following night. I heard my door being knocked on, the fuck man, around the same time. Do you have my money? I told him fuck no, because there was no tab to begin with. He leaves. The next day. I talked to the group of friends that went with me to the hookah lounge that night. No one ordered shit. Fast forwarding later on the same day, 2200, 10 p.m. My door is being knocked on again. I say, "Bro, I spoke to everyone, none of us ordered shit. Look, I apologize you had to end up paying the tab even though it was not you, but that shit is not coming out of my pocket." He says, "All right, bro." He walks away. He says, "I asked you once already." He hasn't knocked on my door yet today. Let's see how this goes. He finally gave me his name, but literally everyone I talk to doesn't know who he is. I've never seen him around or anything.
Be in CPS. Be about 8 years old, I think. The forest is awesome, with varied paths for wanderers and joggers, one big river and small streams, a few abandoned houses and cabins. My teacher decides today we will wander away from the normal paths. Weekly walks through the forest with the teacher caseworker, whatever the word is for those people who take shifts taking care of us. I often go with this particular teacher, who's cheerful, popular, and loves the outdoors, and about 5 of us kids. But the ground soon becomes very uneven and slippery. At first, I think it was fun, but it is getting pretty dangerous. Can we go back and take another way? I am afraid of falling. The teens are pissed that the younger crybabies are complaining. The teacher says, "It is okay, you won't fall. Come on." Another young kid, 7 years old, is starting to worry too. The teens and teacher are walking faster. There are now deep holes in the ground, leading to an underground tunnel. I cannot keep up. The other kid starts crying. Me too, probably. I beg as much as I can for the others to stop. They shout angrily at us to keep walking or go back alone. They sound very serious and pissed, not like they are having fun at all. At this point, the 2 of us are noping to hard, even though teacher would be held responsible if something happened to us. Water sounds from the underground tunnel are very loud. Nobody's having fun. Why are they doing this? We keep jumping from rock to rock as carefully and as fast as possible. I hear a gasp behind me. The 7-year-old boy is not there anymore. I say, "He has fallen in the tunnel. Help. He is going to drown." Only one of the teens turns around and walks to me. The heroic teen says, "Keep on walking, Anon. I am taking care of this. Shut up and walk." I keep on going, crying as hard as I can, thinking my friend is dead. The others are just walking as fast as they can, barely looking back, arguing angrily. The rest of the way is long and painful. I cannot remember how I made it, but eventually, we are nearly out of the forest. I am bawling like a bitch. Where is the 7-year-old and the heroic teen? Where are they? Suddenly, the heroic teen and the 7-year-old are calling us, soaked with water. The 7-year-old is smiling and tells me all about how he nearly drowned. Actually, I don't remember the details of how he made it out and how the heroic teen fell or swam into the water to help him out. Sorry, my memory's not perfect. Everyone else is quieter. I am so angry. I keep asking for explanations. Why did they lead us there and did not go back when it got dangerous? I am told to shut up. They just wanted to go on a cooler path. Now shut up and do not bring this up again, you crybaby. I never found out what the fuck this was about. I'd think they saw something or someone scary, wanted to run away without frightening us any more than this. I would accept this as the truth if there hadn't been another incident with that teacher. This story still doesn't make sense to me. Whatever.
E16. Running at the school track at 2 a.m. After about half an hour of running, I see a car pull into the parking lot a ways away. No big deal. JPG. A group of 4 people, all adult height, get out of the car and start walking to the track. I can only see their silhouettes due to poor lighting. Okay, I will leave after I finish this lap. They cut through the track. There is a football field in the middle of the track, and I can see them now from the football spotlights, and walk towards me. They are all wearing black clothing, and one of them is holding something in their hand, and the others have hands in their hoodie pockets. They do not say anything, but continue to walk towards me. I get a really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach, knowing that the track is far away from any residential housing, and the entire school is deserted. Nope.jpg. I walk as quickly as I can towards the fence without acting spooked. I round the corner of a relocatable classroom and then book it as quickly as I can. I hear footsteps running behind me. I am running on the sidewalk as fast as I have ever ran before, but I'm already tired from the track. I see a car pulling quickly out of the school parking lot. It was their car. I run as fast as I can to the other side of the street. I jump a fence into someone's backyard. I jump over the next fence and run across the road to a parking lot and continue to run. I do not stop running for like 10 minutes straight until I'm convinced that the car and the people on foot lost me. I hide behind some building and then begin walking home, taking the weirdest route possible in case they see me and stalk me to my home. The worst part is that my house was really close to the school, so I had to backtrack a couple miles after the chase and pray that they weren't around the school. They could have easily killed or kidnapped me. It was routine for me to go running at night, so I'm certain it was planned. Pick related, but spotlights were at about quarter brightness. 5 people, including a driver.
Be a high school student council member. I'm alone at the student council office after class when a socially awkward student comes in. Yes, what can I help you with? He is silent, staring straight at my face. I jokingly repeat, yes, what can I help you with? With my eyes fixed on him. He walks out. Nope. A few days later, I am waiting at the quadrangle to go home with friends. I hear stern talking on the other bench. Our school teacher is scolding the socially awkward student in our batch. What is happening to you? Your grades are getting worse in every test. What do you mean you cannot catch up? Then ask your friends for help. What do you mean you cannot? Don't you have? The teacher realizes the situation and stops. At this moment, the kid is almost in tears. His eyes and nose are red in color. It turns out he came to the office to ask us for help with getting notes and handouts. We do not really do that stuff. He probably did not know then. Out of nowhere, I hear myself speak. I am his friend. To save my sudden action, I follow with, well, I can be. I will help him catch up in class. The teacher asks me if I am really okay with it, then tells us to do well as she leaves. From that moment on, me and the awkward kid meet up after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays to study. He is now my friend.
Dude runs a stop sign. He causes my friend to drive into a ditch near a parking lot. I flip the dude off. We pull into a parking space at a store we were going to. The dude boxes us into our spot. He comes to my window. We get into it. He starts cursing at me in Spanish. Yes, this gringo speaks Spanish, you idiot. The dude replies in broken English. Oh, then understand this. I'm going to stab you in your throat. My dumbass friend will not roll my window up after rolling it down all the way in the first place, like an idiot. The dude has a knife below my door. I can see it in the mirror. My friend is crying and hiding his face in his hands. I apologize to the guy profusely. He talks more shit about me turning into his bitch. I tell him, you're the guy willing to kill someone over a hand gesture. He had no idea what I said. He barely spoke English as it was. I see him tuck his knife back into his jeans. He reaches in the car. He makes a fist. Pound it, bro. We both have a bad day, mijo. The dude gives me a bro fist, my face, when he gets in his truck and drives away. My friend tries to give me shit about de-escalating. The guy who was a ball of snot and tears just seconds before. I went total bitch mode to save our asses from being killed in a Walmart parking lot. And that's the story of why I don't flip people off, and why I'm generally a lot nicer to strangers, and why I never hang out with that friend anymore, and why I carry a gun in my car.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.